Hello, church family. Today, our devotion comes from Luke 22, verse 39 to 46. It is titled, Jesus Prays on the Mount of Olives. I will read. Jesus went out as usual to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples followed him. On reaching the place, he said to them, "Pray that you will not fall into temptation." He withdrew about a stone's throw beyond them, knelt down, and prayed. "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." An angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. And being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. When he rose from prayer and went back to the disciples, he found them asleep, exhausted from sorrow. "Why are you sleeping?" he asked them. "Get up and pray so that you will not fall into temptation." Now, the story of Jesus going to the garden to pray just reminded me of an answered prayer in my life when I had applied for a job of which I had about 10% chance of getting it. And so I went to the botanical gardens in Harare and prayed, and God was gracious in me being able to get that job. Now, the story that we pick up in Luke 22 is a story just after Jesus had the Last Supper with his disciples and before he was arrested. And so this is the point that he went to God with concerns and cares. And the first point I just want us to focus on is Jesus went to pray, brought before God his concern. I mean, he was focusing and aware of the pain and the agony and the suffering that was before him. And so he took that to God and said, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." His response to sorrow and anguish and agony was to take it to God. In contrast, we see in this little passage that the disciples were asleep, exhausted from sorrow. So it feels like their response to the sorrow was they were just too tired to pray. And yet Jesus just took his concerns before God. And the second bit that I want us to focus on is the aspect of Jesus saying, "Yet not my will, but yours be done." Jesus humbled himself. He was God, but he humbled himself by coming on this earth, taking on a human flesh and weakness, and dying on the cross for you and me. And so that's humility of saying, "Lord, this is what I would want, but if it's not your will, then let your will be done in my life." It's just an amazing. And so I just want us to just consider the two things in terms of application. Our mental health, the times when we get into a place of difficulty and stress and struggle. And I just wanted to encourage us to turn to God and bring that before God. And secondly, I want us to come before God with humility. Let us remember that Christ, as he was God, came down on earth and humbled himself. How much more are we to come before God with our ambition and our goals and our concerns and everything else and say, "Lord, this is what I would want. But if it's not your will, then let your will be done in my life." May God richly bless you during this Easter period.